Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for episodes 111A or 111A and 111B. We are here live with folks who are part of the panel who participated in the episode, who made it possible. And we're so glad that you could just be here with us. And we wanted to make sure, especially considering the impact of the episode, that we gave you an opportunity to talk to these folks directly live. I saw so much feedback from our viewers who were just really engaged with the topic. And let's get started with everything. Hi. Hey Roz, hey Glow. We're waiting to see. We're waiting to see if everyone else joins us. There's someone I think who's watching live on another window. If you could shut that off, because it's got a little bit of feedback. If you've got two windows open, if you're on the panel, I think it's you, Glow. If you could shut that window with the episode playing live, that'll help. All right. So now that you've watched the episode, I guess I'll go with Roz first until Glow shuts her window down. Now that you've watched the episode, what do you think? Because it's different watching it than when you actually are like answering live. What would you say is your feedback on that, or at least initially after watching it, Roz?
It was different being a part of the process, and my psychology wheels are turning in my mind, just thinking about the conversation that I had with Alvis, and so my brain is still just processing, versus just being in the midst of it and just going with it.
Yeah, Gloria, what would you say now that it's all over, so to speak?
Actually, it was, what is the word I'm looking for? A release, because you were able to share your story. That's it. I was able to share the story even though family knew, but to be able to just share it and hope that it helps someone else, it was a release.
Alvis, now that you've joined us, what would you say is your feelings or thoughts after watching the episode for you? What did it feel like for you watching it?
It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that I actually opened up and revealed all that I revealed and said all that I said.
Was it still, I mean, gosh, for me, it was interesting to watch because I know all of you very intimately.
Yeah.
And I've heard all of your stories separately, but to be able to put them together in one place, and to give you a voice to be able to do that, that was something that that's why I feel like this is one of the best things I've ever done. And what I don't think the viewers know is that everyone who is involved in this particular episode of the show, with the exception of True, she's an Atlas by adoption. She's not an Atlas, she's an Atlas by adoption. Everyone who is on the show is related. All of us are related to each other. Every single one of us are. So the fact that this happened in one family for 3 different people should pretty much tell you how prevalent this is and how common this is and how we are sort of acting at a deficit regarding this when we should be more proactive about how we address it and just what we do going forward. The chat room, everyone is saying they love you, Alvis, and they love you, Glow. Felicia is giving her salutations to you, Alvis, in the chat room.
Wow.
Thank you. And thank you for your honesty. I think that's the one part about this that makes this particularly special, is the fact that you guys were honest and that you were candid and you were very transparent about your experiences. And everyone is saying they applaud your bravery. They so appreciate your honesty, that you are not alone. Bernice says it's still raw for Alvis, but she says she thanks you for sharing and giving yourself time to heal.
Yeah, thank you.
People have also asked, do you feel better after this?
There's a release, yes. Every time that I speak it out, speak the truth, I become better.
Gloria, what would you say? Would you say that do you feel better afterwards?
Oh, definitely. To be able to hold on to that, because I realized that at a certain point in my life, it wasn't my secret to bear. I mean, why boggle myself down with that? Release it. It's not mine to hold on to. And so once I did that, each time I shared, it got lighter and lighter and lighter, to the point now it's just, what do you say, another Lifetime movie? Because that's how you feel. But if you know that one person can benefit from me sharing, it was well worth it.
Roz, how you talked a lot about support groups and having support networks throughout this process, and I think that's something that was a big theme of the episode, is like the fact that once everyone moved beyond themselves and moved beyond the story and like all the facts and the details, and they started to embrace it and they were in community, that's when things started to shift and started to change. And I'm grateful for you suggesting that. And in some ways we have those communities online with like Facebook groups, but sometimes that just don't get it right. Like, this is a horrible example, but I just think about eating chicken wings and how my mom, if you know, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about because you're related to the lady. But if, some people complain about how folks eat chicken wings. If you don't get that tip real good, somebody will go behind you and clean your tips or re-clean your chicken wings, right? And in some ways, sometimes Facebook groups don't get that wing like that, like you need it to, right? So sometimes you do have to come into community with people. It's just, oh gosh, is there anything you'd like to add to that, Roz?
Well, I think that sometimes when you have these really large groups, you lose the intimacy. And so people can oftentimes feel really lost, although there are little nuggets that I'm sure that they gather here and there. Depending on where you are in the process, it can be less beneficial. And so that's where really having that community, and maybe you have layers within the community, that help support you, in where you are, and give you that space to be where you are until you choose to go to that next level, So.
Yeah. What would you say, I guess now, is there any fear now that this is more open?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're cackling. And then the thing is, I'm like, oh gosh. Well, actually, before we get to, go ahead, Alvis.
Yeah, no, because I was just gonna say, I live in Oakland, California. If you guys don't see me in a couple of months, call the police. My mother did it. I'm just telling you now.
No, he did not. True.
I just want to put that out there in the space. If my body comes up missing and my mother didn't do it, my given family, thank you for the term, they did it. Y'all look for me. Don't let me leave this world in vain.
We will not, Nicodemus. I had to bring your reference back, boo.
I love it. John 3, don't you let them take me out of here. Okay, no, but yeah, absolutely. There are reservations, even after this, even with you, Mika, sending over, what you put together to let me see it, even afterwards. And listening to the things, it's always careful of what comes out of your mouth. Thank you for your talent. Because, sometimes the heart speaks truth, but not all truth can be received by everybody, in the moment that it's given and the way that it's packaged, because it's not their truth. And so to them, it can be problematic. It can be taxing. It could be all of the things that would make you want to run and hide under the rock. But do no harm is my first place in all of this that I'm doing. It's for me to free me.
Yeah. And we talked about that on the episode, this whole notion of do no harm, and what does that really mean? No harm for me, because this is, it's your DNA, right? It's your story too. And so there's a lot of pressure, if you will, in standing in your own truth, I'd imagine, while also trying to protect, honor,
all of the above.
All the above, those people that you hold in high regard, and it can be a very convoluted process.
But yeah.
And it's triggered so many things, even in my, although I'm here just, from the psychological standpoint, my father never knew his father. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I have another person in my life where this is absolutely something that they struggle with. And I would love to support them in their journey of finding their truth, but I would feel horrible I think it would be good for them, but I would feel horrible I don't know how to bring it up, because I don't want them to question how I feel about them, although I know it's an issue for them, and it's their truth, so I can't really say more, but just being on the other side where I can absolutely see the long-standing impacts of not really knowing the truth.
Oh, yeah.
But also them asking the question for the truth and how that can have that ripple effect.
Oh, absolutely.
When Rosalind spoke about the protection, that is the first step. You want to protect the person who kept the secret from you. You don't want to put them out there, so to speak.
Right.
So your first initial thing is to protect. Then when you realize, when you go to that person and that person isn't willing to help you, and you start saying, wait a minute, it's about me. You lied to me, but you taught me not to lie. So here I'm going through life practicing what you preached to me, but you didn't honor me by telling me the truth. And if I came to you in my early years of being 16 and in my journey, the thing about it, I found out that my dad wasn't my dad right before I lost my husband. So really, I didn't have anybody to walk with me through this, because in the beginning, I kept it to myself. And finding out in November, then sharing it in January with my husband, but then in May, he was gone. So now I have no choice but to turn to my mother, who continued to lie. And in her quest to keep me from the truth, she was saying there was no way possible that I was going to find out what she did in 1959, and when you turn your back, and I say, how can you throw away your child? Because, you just cut me off and not speak to me. And then you go and you tell people around the city that I'm lying and I'm doing all these things to her. I never once stopped loving my mother. Never. I didn't hold it against her, and I kept telling her, I'm not judging you. I'm a woman. I know what happens. I know people who do things in life. As you said, it's family history. It's all throughout our family. I know this. I've seen it. We're discovering it. And I thank God. Like I said, he has led me, but he also put Nika right there in the beginning so that she can help. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. It helped me discover truth. And because of truth being exposed, my mother not only turned on me, she turned on her sister, you know, the one she sent to spy on me. But now moving forward, we're moving in year 6. Okay, we are now communicating. My sister and I are communicating. Things have gotten better, but it was wasted time. All those years wasted. And I missed my mother because I had a close relationship with her. It was all for what? Because you didn't want to tell the truth? And then I find my dad. And when I initially got that first one-on-one conversation with him, he said, me and your mom had lots of fun. Yes. So she was lying. How could you not remember this man? How could you not know about this man? And in defense, okay, she told me, she says, I didn't know he wasn't your father until you started digging, because my mother was married at the time that I was conceived. Now, was they going through problems? Probably. Did she go out? Yes, she did. And that's what happens when you do that. But own your stuff. If you did it, own it. Everybody that's involved, except for my mother and my father, is deceased. Okay, my given daddy, he's gone. He died the day of my husband's wake. So like I said, that was a year I was going through some stuff and had nobody to share. Nobody to, like I said, except for Nika.
That year, Lord, 2014 in our family was
horrendous.
Right, because we lost T. Dorothy.
Yeah.
And Uncle Tim, I think it was the same day because he had on the same clothes. And then we lost 2 more. We lost the friend and then Rosalind's dad. We lost one and then Rosalind's dad the next day.
But I don't find it any coincidence that you all are involved in this when you guys survived that year. Because Uncle T or Uncle Tim you just talked about is Sharome's grandfather. That's his biological grandfather. He died the same year your husband died, who was also his connection. And he died the same year that Rosalind's father died, which is still the same exact family. This was all within 6 months of each other. So if there is any way that me being who I am and having the God-given talents that I have could soothe or add color or breadth to that story to make it not so hard to swallow, y'all know I'm gonna do that for you. And I just have to honor you, Glow, because I know I'm probably one of the first people that you told after everything happened. And I also have to give you props because you, honey, you were a trooper. You were a student. You called me. We had our weekly conversations. We talked. You got your training. You were in your DNA boot camp. You was printing out stuff. You were ordering things. You were getting kits. You were just as savage as Alvis Ward, busting out the kits at the funeral service, testing people out the trunk of your car. Come on, Alvis. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Right. But you were a willing student, Glow. I helped you get to where you wanted to go, but you were a willing student and you did your due diligence. And for me, it was a blessing just to watch you transform into, I'm not really the family historian, but now you are. Like that's who you are now. And with Alvis, this has been something that this propelled you into a whole other arena of teaching about stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, this discovery became my platform. It became my soapbox. It became the place that I could become transparent and a truth, because I saw myself sinking if I did not. If I did not turn around, like Gloria said, a story, two different versions of a story. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, your grandmother knew, and things that were just flying at me. And I had no way to source to find out if it was fake news or not. I began to say, you know what? I'm going to walk in this and speak this forward in spite of everything that's in me telling me not to open my mouth, not to rock the boat, tip it over, not to ruffle any feathers, because that was never my intention. So I became a witness to it and created curriculum and verbiage and conversation that drew people to the process of knowing that Paul was not Paul, that were willing to, like Nika said, begin to dive in, to begin to get the tools necessary to overcome their personal situation, then to move forward in their education on how to decipher all of this and put it in a compartmentalized place best they could to keep it moving, and hopefully to pass it forward in truth this time, about how they came to be who they are, the knowing, and to hopefully free other people. And that's been my platform, to, as a genealogist, as an educator, to stand up and draw people to this conversation. Like you said, Dr. Newton, there is, and as we discussed earlier, there is no roadmap for this. This is uncharted water. There is nothing. Everything can be created, but only if free people.
Woo! That's a whole sermon. Pass the collection plate. It's decision time. Anoint the head
And I
with
credit
oil.
that to my bishop.
Look, we can have decision time right now. I'm telling you, I will say, I was one of the first people to find out from Gloria. I was one of the first people to find out from Alvis.
Yes, true.
And for Sharon, who could not be with us today, I was the one that told him that his father was not his father.
Yeah.
And by virtue of using the DNA of a very illustrious member of our panel today, that helped me figure out who his father was. That would be Rosalind. So this is, I just keep going back to, this is one family, you guys. This is one family story. True, what do you have to say? We didn't let you in on all of our business and dirty work. You Atlas adjacent.
Yes, I was the one peeking in the window, and I just wanted to appreciate Rosalind and Gloria and Alvis for just letting me be a part of this, and just, entrusting us. I know you all trust Nika, and to get this out so that we can start as a people to, start healing from this, and how to work through this, and let this be out in the open so we can help other people. I think the most thing I took away from all of this is how I can, be there for my matches, or when someone comes to me. And it taught me a lot about holding space for folks, because a lot of this is what Nika's been doing for Gloria and Alvis and Sharon. And I know I try to do that as well. But with everything that Dr. Roslyn has been talking to us over, over the course of getting this premiere ready, that's what I have been gaining out of this, and about what Gloria and Alvis and Sharon have gone through, and what to expect, and what should I be doing moving forward. I know Dr. Roslyn will probably give us a few tips that we can give to our viewers on how do you be there as a, the ally, the advocate for that person, because you see how Gloria had to go that road alone. If she didn't have Nika, you may be that Nika in somebody else's life. So that's why we're here, to prepare you for all of this and to really think about this. We are a community, and we are small, but we are starting at home, and it's reaching out to our roots all the way. Even though we're going back to the Africa, we're still dealing with what has happened here now and in the present. So we don't get to talk about this a lot, but this is our opportunity to open the door.
I want to share some of the feedback from the chat room.
Right.
Somebody requested that I put Alvis in B flat, so that you can finish your sermon and you could tune out, because you were preaching. So they
We'll have to add the ham into that.
I had your ham in Oregon. Sure, where is your app? You got the music. You got the shout music on your app.
And I left the iPad downstairs.
Hey. But yeah, someone said kids at the funeral. Yes, Alvis. I just want to thank you all for your bravery and compassion. Dante Eubanks says Gloria's journey is a journey of being a blessing to others. Her story is and will be a blessing to many who will look upon her for strength. Thank you, Gloria, for being a blessing to the masses. Renata says good for you, Alvis. Felicia says it's a calling. I honestly believe that. Queen L shares, I'm the oldest of 9 from my mom. When I found Dad, also found an additional brother and sister. Now the oldest of 11 and disconnected from all of them, have not spoke with them in the last 2 is their choice. And here's the thing, let me be really transparent. You guys, most people don't realize I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers. Most folks know I talk about my sister all the time because I brag on her because she's amazing, right? But I have 2 other brothers, I have two brothers and a sister, and one of those brothers and one of those sisters chooses not to have a relationship with me. And it's not because of anything that I did. Mm-hmm. I was just born. We have the same, we have the same father. And my sister, you all know lie. I mean, this, I have to say this because I want you all to realize that even people who you consider to be notable, right? Or to have everything together, even their families are not perfect. Everyone's got stuff that they have to deal with. And my sister told me, my oldest sister said, when my father died, her obligation to me ended as a sister. And this is after years of me calling and texting and trying to, do my job, right? Not relying on my mom or my dad for a relationship with my sibling. This is me forging out on my own. The last time I was in the city that she was in, every time I was around, I would always call and tell her months ahead of time, I'm coming. And that's what I got in a text message from my oldest sister, that her obligation to a relationship with me ended the day my father died. Mm-hmm. So don't assume that every family structure is like the Cosbys or like anyone else. There's always drama. And I'll say this too, especially considering the fact that we dealt with a death in my family recently. However the relationships were with that person, all of the details, all of the intricacies and nuances get exacerbated by major family events, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a death, whether it is a major move, a child is born. All of those intricacies and nuances and tics and other things, those things get exacerbated by those major life events. So if you aren't already on the same page, it's going to get potentially worse because of these things, because people they're going to react. They're naturally going to fall to whatever their role is in a family. And some people default to what they did as a child. I don't have a PhD. I just have good common sense. And I watch people, right? And so I just say this to say, right? for me, I think about, what am I going to do when my nephews start DNA testing, or when my nephews want to put up a family tree and they see mine is out there and they see that they're on it, but yet their mom has this whole thing going on with herself. That, are they going to feel like they need to carry that burden because of what their mom had, right? And this is one of those things that I constantly tell people about in genealogy. You have to pick what battles you're going to stick with. If a side of your family has not spoken to another side of your family, are you going to pick that mantle up and keep carrying that weight? Or are you going to say, this is stupid? I'm here for the research. I'm here for the camaraderie. I'm here for the family. I'm here for the nurturing, right? You have to make a choice. And I constantly think about that, because I've got 2 nephews through my sister that are grown, that I've even reached out to them. Here's the crazy part with the brother and the sister I have that don't speak to me, because I was just born. That's it. I'm in better contact with their kids. Talk to them all the time. Totally have a relationship with my nieces and nephews. We're great. But sometimes that's where stuff falls. Roz, what would you say in terms of tips for the ally in this situation? Before that, hold on, I got to get back to the chat room, because there was some really, really good feedback that people, Dante Eubanks is in this chat room preaching. I don't know if y'all know that, but there's a word in the sermon going forth. He said, this conversation will help break generational curses. Speak the truth. You guys have no idea how much this episode is touching my heart. Somebody put Twinkie on the organ. But don't let her sign away her publishing. Okay, let's
right.
let her keep her publishing.
Right.
Let's see, talking about the Hammond organ. Good for you, Alvis. Just to lift up Glow. She already knows I'm wrapping my arms around her, and her niece is doing the same thing in North Carolina. That's her auntie. That's Rosalind's auntie. I told you guys it's the same family. Don't be sorry. I totally understand. Stay strong. No sorry. Hugs. No need to say sorry. My heart is overwhelmed with the bravery of you all. That's what I was just saying. God bless you, Gloria. Don't apologize. Those are cleansing tears. This is so awesome. I am literally going through this as we speak.
Wow.
Y'all needed to hear that. That's a lot. I've already shed my tears. Got me to crying. We're supposed to be talking about fabric. I'm kidding. These stories are so heartbreaking. I'm in tears. May you all have peace during your journey. There are some stories where those who we have to protect didn't even know themselves. Oh, it comes with a different weight. The sting in our community for generations. That is so true. What Gloria said, preach. That is real. Someone asked, I was late in the original episode, but I'm curious who made the discoveries of the mistruths in the family. Was it you, or did the panelists and then they contacted you? I was sort of involved in all of these. With Gloria, she knew. And that's the one thing, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to brag on my atlases for a second. They come, when I tell you they will work these systems, I will give them 2 seconds of instruction, only 2. They will come back, because I clicked the link on the number of CM. I don't know what CM is. You told me what that word is. And then it said the probability of relationships. And I knew it couldn't be this. And literally, they'll be giving people tours. And I will have only said, this is whatever it is. So high five to y'all. With Glow, she knew. I helped her work through tracking down who the actual person was. With Alvis, I was there at the beginning. I remember when Lord, can I tell the story?
You can.
About the comparisons?
Yeah, you can.
He had the chief geneticist at 23andMe, because we invited her to an event we put together in the Bay. And he was like, I got to have her tell me what I know in my heart, but he needed that extra stank on it. Like he needed that extra layer. And he said, is this any way possible, if this is supposed to be my father, that we don't share any DNA? Is this a glitch in the system? I need you to tell me. And she said, no, he's not. I was there when she said that to him.
Yes.
I was also there while we were eating burritos at a Mexican restaurant with 2 laptops up, and he found my grandmother and his DNA results as a match on his biological father's side of the family. I was there for that too.
Yes, you were.
For
Wow.
for Sharon, Gloria was there for that story too. Because I called her because I was trying to figure out whose child this was.
Right.
And she called her aunties.
In
And I
New
was calling
Mexico.
exactly. We were calling all over the family. And I called his brother that night. He talks about Derek in the episode. And I called his brother and I said, I think you have a brother. And we went through and he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, he's around your age. And I said his name. And that's when he stopped me and it was like, I got to call you back. I got to call my mama. And then that's when the whole story happened. And he found out that his childhood friend was his brother and he never knew. Yes. Hold on. What were you saying, Glo?
They also used to say they were cousins. They didn't know they were related, but they were good friends.
Yeah, they were good friends. So now they forged a relationship in brotherdom, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add right now, Alvis?
You know, I just want to say this has been cleansing. This has been, it continues to be a journey. It will never be over, I'm sure. Everyone can speak to that has experienced all of this and continue to try to put a period where there's a comma, that it is truly life-changing. As one of your commenters said earlier, this will free generations. If only we would speak the truth. And my pastor, I just want to give her a shout out right now, Bishop Yvette Adrian Flunder. It's really true that we are the balm in Gilead that will heal a sin-sick soul if we would only tell our story. Our stories can free many people, not only free the vessel, but also free those that are connected and will be interconnected. It makes for a better you and me, you know, literally. I just heard Stevie Wonder in my head, but it really does make for a better humanity. That's the great place to put this. It makes for a better humanity, especially in the wake of this COVID pandemic that's going on in the world right now. It's a cleanse. It's definitely something to do. I'm not saying for people to go by a DNA test to see if Pa was really Pa or if Ma was really Ma. I'm not suggesting that. But if you find something in your results, or I'm sorry, in your research, if you're researching, or if you just took a DNA test to see how much African you were and what tribes you belong to, and you discover something other, reach out to Nika Smith. Don't call me. Don't email me. I'm just, I have too much on my plate to contact Dr. Rosalind. I'm just messing with you. Right. Because
Yes.
I'm still processing. But you know what? Allow yourself to connect with people. Don't be an island. Find a community to work with you. Find friends in this journey. And as Nika said, the thread that connects us all is that we're all related by DNA.
Roz, any parting words for the allies, right? The folks that, you know, are like me that find the Sharoms in your DNA results. You know, I feel like I'm in a unique position because I'm dealing with this sort of stuff all the time. I know the family that's on here knows that's one of my things. I always have 5 people in the family I'm working on for some level of this. No lie, you guys. I think you might think I'm kidding. I'm so serious. I always have 5 people. And when one case gets solved, literally it's like clockwork. Here comes somebody else with another situation because of how prevalent it is. How can we be better allies in this situation?
Well, you know what? Let me just, before Rosalind, before you answer that, let me say this, that the allies, those that discover this experience in their family's trees, in their DNA results, we become the teachers, if you will. We become the psalmists. We become those that will speak up and speak out and try to nestle others to a safe space and maneuvering through all of this. And that's true, because as Nika said, she was there in the beginning, but we were both learning about this in the beginning. We were both newbies to DNA. It was new to the scene where a lot of people were getting it, but we understood quickly that we had to test the elders immediately because they would catch more people in their web than most. And because of those little trinkets, those little golden nuggets, we became the people that we are today. And I think everyone that finds a community to embrace them with their truth in this reality, they become the third party, they become the allies that you speak of, Nika, and that's necessary for this community. Because again, only I believe the best vessel is one that can find a place for what they're dealing with, or in their raw emotion. If they can find a place to settle, they can also become the springboard for others to make it through. Harriet Tubman could only free slaves because she had been a slave, and she understood the motivation necessary to never be one again.
Roz, what you got to say after that, Lord?
Oh no. I think what's all been said is truth to the process. First and foremost, just being present, being present to listen. Because you have to, we're really, when you find out this information, you're really embarking upon a grieving process. And there are various stages. And so what I've heard thus far is, one, they were there. Nika was there. She listened. She was present. You extended compassion. Because of your skill set, your expertise, you were able to offer education, process, procedure on how to move forward. But even in that, you respected where they were on their journey. When Auntie Glory came to you, she kind of was already in that processing mode. Like she had been holding it for some time, grieving it for some time, and had time to make a decision on where she wanted to go with it, right? And so you were there to help propel her, if you will, to the next step. And so you might find that some people just aren't at that place. And I know that I mentioned before, my concern as a clinician is what's the pilot process procedures that we take, because we don't want, like, if you're in the genealogy world, like this is, you can absolutely help this person find the information they really want, but you want to be careful not to push them too soon. Because there's a lot that comes along with that. It's important that we be sensitive to, like, if I feel consumed with my desire to protect my mom, or if I'm consumed with it, it might not be the time for me to bust open truth's door, And so holding space, being present, supporting that person on whatever decision that they make, and even if you're not in the genealogy world and this is something you just kind of stumble upon, and and you're in that place to support someone else, the best thing that we can do as humans is be compassionate and not place our own beliefs, our own stuff, really, our own judgments, our own analysis on what we need to do, or and how they might feel. They may not feel what you feel, right? And so there's so much power in zipping the lip. Don't say nothing. Just be present. Just be present.
But true, what you said, put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Girl, you got to hold it to your heart, though, because it is so tempting out there to our viewers and people that aren't in our field. But I'm telling you, when it happened to me, and I'm still going through it when my family members come to me, especially, oh, girl, that holding that space for them is something, because I have to be with them the whole time and meet them where they are at that time. So I know how that what that felt like about holding that to your heart until, you don't have to be jumping out there. Like Rosalind was saying, that's not for you to be doing.
And
But
it's also not really your secret or your truth
right.
to tell. And you also sort of dishonor the person's process
Thank
when you
you.
take it upon yourself to go off the mountaintops and scream, "That ain't your daddy!" Like
Right.
that's not your
Right.
job. You are not Jesus on the mount giving the sermon. You are one of the people at the bottom who is supposed to be listening to Jesus give the sermon. But
Right.
you
And-
too busy
and that,
trying to
Nika,
play Jesus.
That is the process of doing no harm.
There it is,
That-
right there.
That is the process of doing no harm.
Mm, mm.
That is it.
It's a full church service on this
Yes,
episode.
because I've had to learn this on my own. Like I've really had to take baby steps and really concentrate on what I'm doing when people come to me with this. Like that, like I really honor that and treasure it, because this is painful. It can be painful. And it's hard to explain, but what Rosalind has been saying and teaching us over all of this, trust me, I have been taking it into heart and tweaking it and trying to be the best I can be with that when someone comes to me. So
I just want to add to, and this is just the petty in me sliding out. Imagine me in a velvet blazer, smoker's jacket, gardenia behind me with the lit candles, and I'm doing a beat battle on IG. I'm gonna slide in, do my Kenny Babyface Edmonds shade here, but it's true. This is why using autosomal DNA for genealogy for criminal cases is a slippery slope. Because you're already dealing with very emotional topics. This is people's foundational, beliefs. Their core of their identity is their family and who they are and how they are perceived and how they express themselves and what they connect to. And when you take that, right, and you repurpose it for your own means, for your own glorification, to catch killers because it sounds cute, that's just, it's perverted.
it is.
It's very perverted. And so in the genealogy community, right, this is why, because folks have gone rogue and made it to catch a killer, they have also in some ways demoted the emotional importance of this, right? Like they've made it go down 10 pegs because it's just not that serious. Because we don't care about that anyway. We don't care about those people. We don't care about those centimorgans as long as it can serve us, right? It's the same reason why you see people out marching with masks on and socially distancing with picket signs, wanting to go back to work and put themselves in a cesspool of coronavirus because, I don't get it. My people don't get it. I need to be free. I need to have my liberties, right? It's all a contradiction that is meant to protect a certain class and a certain scale of people. But know this. When you open those DNA matches and those results, this could always be you, or it could always be someone in your immediate family. Now, you need to temper your expectations and not be on the side of just expecting the other shoe to fall always, because that could be stressful. That can take a toll on you. But at the same time, if these beautiful people have shared their experience with you and you have joined them in the journey of where they've gone, right? The sleepless nights, the crying, the emoting, I can't tell this person, I don't know who to trust. All of those things. Don't address this. Don't approach this cavalierly. This is somebody's life. This is somebody's identity. This is somebody's emotional well-being that has been fractured. And when you approach it like it's cute or like it's this Trolls Lego set that I just helped my son put together, what are you saying to the universe when it happens to you? What are you saying? If it's so cavalier and you Jesus on the Mount giving a sermon, right? And that ain't your daddy. What are you doing? Because at some point it could be you. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, you guys? Because I know we've been preaching sermons and we need to do decision time at some point. Okay,
Oh.
go ahead, Roz.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, actually, no. Go, Auntie Glory.
No, I wanted to share this when he was saying being a platform for someone else. Okay, in the midst of finding who I was, which was very important because I need to know who I was, I started looking for other family members, that have gone on. And in the process, I purchased, I think maybe like 20 tests to have my family tested. And I went to my mother's paternal side and I asked them, would they be willing to test because I needed that side of the family tested. And I explained up front, by taking this test, you may discover something you don't want to know. Are you okay with that? So I put that out there first and foremost. And as a result of it, I had a brother and sister tested and it came back. Only one was related. And so when I talked to my female cousin, because she's still my cousin, I said, how are you doing? And you know what she said to me? She said, Glow, I look at you and you okay? She said, I'm going to be okay too. And that, like I said, there you go, bro. When you can help somebody with my story, thank you, Lord, for using me. Thank you for using me.
Ooh, Lord. Alvis, what you got to say? Lord, she over here about to make me cry again. I can't, hold on, let me take you off mute.
I'm
Okay,
over
go
here
ahead.
testifying to everything she said. And she's right. I have nothing to add to that. She's absolutely correct. When your story can become that helps somebody else, it's all good. And that's what I've been. And I define myself now. It's, if you put anything on my headstone, I was the help. And I'm okay with that. If I leave here first, it's okay to put on my good and faithful, the help. He was the help. I've just tried to help.
There's that old gospel song, let my work speak for me.
That right there.
So I have to go listen to that again after we're done with this.
Yeah. This has been therapeutic.
Yes.
And Dr. Rosalind, God bless you real good.
Oh, yes.
But we're going to figure out a way to get you some money and get you a coalition of therapists across borders. Because we need you. We need Black and brown people that look like us, walk like us, that hold us in safe spaces to get this done. Because it is a journey. And if I tell you up and down is real, people look at me and they smile and they often say, oh boy, you need to lose some weight. They say it because they don't know my story. I didn't know that food would become, an ally in my time of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm sexy thick. I understand. But I used to be sexy small too. You know what I'm saying? I don't like my thighs rubbing together all the time. I don't like huffing and puffing going up 2 flights of stairs. I like to stay on the disco for more than one song before I have to drink some water. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know my journey.
I hate you.
You don't know my journey, but you judge me when you see me, and I just want to slap the taste out of your mouth. When I say that I'm a child of the Most High God.
This is so
if
good.
I told you my story, then you would want to go eat some crow with some ketchup on it and say, I'm sorry and forgive me. And, and that you're going to pray for me. I don't want you praying for me because you weren't authentic in your approach to me. You judged me without knowing who I was. And that's on many levels for many things. People put their mouth on people and need to be silent when you don't know what's going on.
Ooh, Lord. Rosalind Newton. I'm sorry, but okay, Auntie Glory, go right on ahead. What you got to say?
I just have to say this for Elvis. Baby, it's in to be thin, but fat is where it's at.
with you. I'm with
Because
you.
look, they get sick, they look bad. We get sick, we look good. Because we got the fat to fall back on.
Lord, I cannot
Right.
take y'all.
Right.
See, welcome to our family Zoom calls on Sundays, because that's basically what you're hearing. Roz, am I lying? Am I
Love you,
lying?
Gloria.
I don't think
Love
I'm
you,
lying.
Gloria.
This is the family
Love
Zoom
you
call.
too.
Any final
That's all
words,
right.
Lord? Y'all
That's
ain't
all
got
right.
no sense.
Just
No
let
sense.
Jerome know I missed him today.
I know, and true, Jerome is going to be your favorite truck driver in the world, because he's my favorite truck driver.
Yes.
He said he was stuck with the brokers, so he couldn't join us. So we might have to see if we can get him on later. But yeah, everyone loved how he said "ain't." That he is just so Texas, it's not even funny. But I love him, his personality, how
Huge
he's
heart,
just,
huge smile. Yes.
We won the cousin lottery. I don't care what anybody says. We totally did. Roz, any parting words before we hop off today?
The last thing I wanted to add is that, while you're holding, so two things, while you're holding space for other people going through really difficult things, it's important that you're taking really good care of yourself. Because I think that sometimes that's where the breakdown comes in, because it gets heavy, especially if you're, in this world and you have several stories, that are weighing on you. And we talked about that in a different episode about how important it is for you to really take good care of your mental well-being in the work that you do. So that was one. The other piece is, I find that, even in my line of work, that when I'm not, like, the harm in me not taking good care of myself is that it gets in the way of me being effective, efficient with my patients, right? And so I wonder sometimes if the push to propel people to find that truth comes from the fact that I'm not stable, balanced. I have too much on my plate. I'm overworked. I'm burned out. And so I'm not able to really be objective. I'm not able to see things clearly. And then that's how, again, going back to doing no harm. So I wouldn't say that I'm, because I want to see the best and hope the best in people. I don't know that it's always that a person just feels like the truth is what we need, but they've lost their objectivity. And it's so important that you be protective of that, because otherwise you're not serving others well. And if your job is one of service, we want to make sure that we're stellar. We're in a place where we can really give our very best to those who need us. So that was the other piece I wanted to add.
That's good. That's very good. Especially when people are encountering this information for the first time and you are the person delivering the information, examine where you are emotionally in your life at that time from which you are delivering the information, because you may come across a way that person who is receiving the information did not intend, because of where you are and because you have not done your self-care and because you've been up all night long. And I will also say this too, if you encounter one of these situations and you're able to help the person find out who their father is, don't call them first thing in the morning if you stayed up until 5 a.m. the night before looking for the information, because you're sleep deprived and you're eager, but you're not in the right place mentally and physically in order to deliver that information. Alvis, anything else?
Yes, I was going to say that when you discover, this, and, before you become a voice or an advocate for others, allow yourself to sit with it, like Rosalind said, sit with it and allow it to process, where you're going to land in this whole knowing, this new knowing, if you will. I wanted to say also that we are better for allowing ourselves a time span before we come out. When you discover this, allow yourself a space where you're just at a space of still finding information, but work in the shadow. It's good to work in the shadow and let it simmer, and then find out where you want to place the things on your plate so that you won't become burnt out. so that you won't become overwhelmed and do a disservice and cause harm indirectly to another person. That's real. I've been dealing with it for 8 years now. There's still some stuff that I'm in the shadows still working, and I'm great at research. I'm good at what I do. I know how to find the people. You know what I'm saying? I know where they are. I've been in some of their territories and walked right past their houses and drove past their jobs and saw their children and kept it moving, because I know that there is still not a piece to this that I'm, one, ready to deal with, and two, to draw others into, because I am also a community by myself. I bring with me my own Verizon network of people. So when you engage, you also bring with you your other self to a new foundation and a new family that you didn't know.
Thank you guys so much. I love you all. I love you, regardless if we were connected by DNA or not. I love you guys. Thank you so much for trusting me. Thank you for
Yep.
allowing me to be a part of your journey. Roz, you know, you are my favorite psychologist. I don't care what anybody says. You're not even
Yes.
licensed in the state of Tennessee, but that's okay.
Yes.
I'll drive to North Carolina for care
Right.
if
She
I
can
need
come
it.
to California. We want you.
Thank you guys so much for trusting me. Sharon, we love you. I hope your weight turns out great and your broker takes your load and all that stuff. And you know, the comments from the chat room are just amazing. Thank you to the person who contacted me. Thank you so much, the person that emailed me about this in January. Because this wasn't even on my radar, and I wasn't even sure anyone would be willing to be this raw and this real. But thank God for the atlases, because we don't know nothing else, right? That's how we do it. And thank you all for sharing. Thank you for the prescription. That's what one of the folks said. And just be there for someone. Listen, no judging, do no harm. Share the love, you all. We love you. Take care. Stay safe. Wear those masks. As a friend of mine said, and I'm going to pull this up so I can read it accurately, because I think this is so appropriate for what we're dealing with right now in this environment. And I quote, "Y'all can head back out into the COVID Narnia. But as for me and my household, we will continue to serve this couch."